Hey folks, welcome to Shooting Up North. I'm your host, Lewis Carlin. We're here right here on the Alliance Pro Wrestling Network. Thank you so much for joining me. If you're watching for the first time, please consider hitting that subscribe button. We're at 2,000, we're at 1,800 subscribers, trying to get to 2,000. So if you're watching for the first time, or if you're watching and you don't subscribe, please consider hitting that subscribe button. If you want to follow me on social media, I'm on Twitter at Shooting Up North, Instagram at Alliance PW Network, and feel free to join our Facebook group, the Alliance Pro Wrestling Network. So Hard to Kill has come and gone. Was last night. I personally thought the show was fantastic. Not going to go into a full review, but we're going to talk about some of the matches. Josh Alexander versus Bully Ray was an absolute war. We saw a side, as expected, we saw a side of Josh Alexander we didn't think we were going to ever see. Josh Alexander going hardcore, just an absolute war with Bully Ray. Bully Ray really brought out the best in Josh Alexander, I felt. Really brought out the monster of Josh Alexander, and it was a great match. I just love the match. Josh Alexander's wife getting involved as well, I thought was fantastic. You knew Jason Hotch and John Schuyler at some point were going to interfere, which they did. There was no disqualification match, of course, so they could have interfere as much as they want. I knew there's going to be a lot of interference. I predicted it on my preview and prediction show, but I thought it was great. I thought Bully Ray and Josh Alexander gave us one hell of a match. Surprised it was the opening match, though. Surprised that the Impact Wrestling World Championship was the opening match. I don't know if I would have had it the opening match. I would have had the X Division Championship as the opening match, but the X Division was moved to the pre-show. We didn't get the Death Dolls against Tasha Steele, Savannah Evans, and Giselle Shaw. Not sure what happened there, but Trey Miguel, Black Taurus were on the pre-show. That was a terrific match as well. But Josh Alexander really proved last night that he is just an absolutely special talent. Great match. I knew he was going to retain. He tapped out Bully Ray. And who knows? Who knows when he's going to drop the title? I hope he holds the title for a very long time. But I absolutely loved the match against Bully Ray. Josh Alexander, one of the absolute best in the world. In the pre-show, Kushida defeated Angels, Alan Angels, Delirious, Speedball Mike Bailey, Mike Jackson, and Yuya Omura. I'm not sure what happened to Bhupinder Gujjar. He was supposed to be involved in this one, but instead it was Delirious. See, if they have Delirious, why couldn't it have just been Bhupinder Gujjar and Delirious instead of Mike Jackson? But Mike Jackson was getting some pops, so 73 years old. Gotta give him an ovation. I personally, if I was booking this match, I wouldn't have had Mike Jackson in it, but the crowd, he went over pretty well with the crowd. But Kushida was victorious in this match as I expected. Of course, the second pre-show match, Trey Miguel defeated Black Taurus in another a terrific match. Trey Miguel, great champion, great heel, used a spray paint to cheat to win, but nonetheless, he did win. Trey Miguel defeating Black Taurus in a terrific match. And then we had the Motor City Machine Guns successfully defending their titles, retaining the titles against Heath and Rhino, Brian Myers, Matt Cardona, and Ace Austin and Chris Bay. They retained the titles. It was a very good match as well. I was disappointed. I thought Myers and Cardona were going to pull off a title win here, but maybe Cardona's going back to the WWE. I'm not sure. He hasn't signed a contract as of yet. His wife has, but he hasn't. So maybe he's just keeping his options open. Maybe he said, maybe don't put the title on me yet. I might be going back to the WWE. But regardless, Motor City Machine Guns, Alex Shelley, Chris Sabin retain the Impact Wrestling World Tag Team titles in that four-way elimination match. Joe Hendry defeated Moose for the he retained his Impact Digital Media Championship. Moose initially won the match, or so we thought. Santino Morella came out as he was a temporary director of authority for the night, and he reversed the decision. He restarted the match, and Joe Hendry wound up defeating Moose to retain his title. This match was good as well. Love Moose, big fan of Moose. I figured if he's going to win the title, put the digital media title championship on him. Kind of thought he's like above that title, so him as the digital media champion really is not necessary for Moose. He's above that title right now, so I thought the match may have ended in a disqualification, but nonetheless, Joe Hendry retains his title, and he's Impact Wrestling digital media champion for at least another set of tapings, which is tonight actually. Masha Slamovich becomes the number one contender. She defeated Deonna Purrazzo, Killer Kelly, and Taylor Wilde. That was a terrific match as well. I'm glad Masha Slamovich has gone to her regular hairstyle because the Lady Frankenstein hairstyle just wasn't working for me. I just wasn't a fan of it. But she's gone to her independent hairstyle. So a little happy about that, but Slamovich was fantastic. Killer Kelly was great in this one as well. They were all fantastic. But my pick, Masha Slamovich, is the new number one contender for the Impact Wrestling Knockouts World Championship. Steve Macklin and Rich Swann had an absolute war as well. They wrestled all over the arena, falls count anywhere match. Lots of hard bumps in this one. They took it to the outside as I figured they would. They again all over the arena, inside the ring as well. And Steve Macklin defeated Rich Swann by pinfall. Eddie Edwards and Jonathan Gresham had a great match as well. Eddie Edwards, I was surprised Eddie Edwards defeated Jonathan Gresham in this one, but I guess you had to have Eddie Edwards defeat Jonathan Gresham to lead up to the PCO return. So PCO did return after this match and attacked Eddie Edwards. PCO spitting out sand. I guess he figured out. Wasn't he buried in the desert in in Las Vegas? And did he hold the sand in his mouth? And when he traveled from Las Vegas to Atlanta, he was buried in Las Vegas, wasn't he? He was buried in the Las Vegas desert. So and he had to have travel unless he just dug a tunnel underground and just but so he held the sand in his mouth from Las Vegas to Atlanta. I thought that was a little silly, him spitting out the sand, the Las Vegas sand in the ring. But anyway, he had the shovel. I guess he dug himself out. He held the sand in his mouth and he spit the sand out. But PCO back and he's renewing his feud with Eddie Edwards. But Jonathan Gresham, fantastic talent. This was a great match, and looking forward to seeing a lot more Jonathan Gresham in Impact Wrestling. And then the big one, the main event, title versus career match for the Impact Wrestling Knockouts World Championship. The champion Jordan Grace putting her title on the line against Mickie James, who would have to retire. Her career was on the line in this one. And man, oh man, these two delivered big time. Jordan Grace, Mickie James, both delivered big time in this one. There were times where I thought Mickie James' career was over. There were times during the match where I thought Mickie James was going to win the title, and she didn't. But finally, after nearly 20 minutes, Mickie James pins Jordan Grace, becomes the new Knockout World Champion. Her career remains. She's not retiring. Thank goodness. I popped when she won. I jumped out of my chair and just raised my fist. I was very happy that Mickie James is not retiring. But I thought this was a great match. Again, the two really delivered big time in this one. And Mickie James' family came out. It would have been nice if Nick Aldis's music hit and he came down to celebrate as well. But I guess they didn't want to take any attention. It kind of made sense not to have Nick Aldis there. They didn't want to take any attention away from Mickie James winning the Impact Wrestling Knockouts World Championship. This was about Mickie James, not about Nick Aldis. So I think it was smart that Nick Aldis was nowhere near the ring, or we didn't see any Nick Aldis appearance. Again, this was about Mickie James, not about Nick Aldis. If Nick Aldis came out, then it would have immediately been about Nick Aldis. But Mickie James, great job. What a legend in the world of professional wrestling. But she's now the new Impact Wrestling Knockouts World Champion. And now she has Masha Slamovich to contend with, the number one contender. So Masha Slamovich gets the next shot at Mickie James, the new Knockouts World Champion. So overall, this was a great show. Loved Hard to Kill. Impact Wrestling just knocking it out of the park. And as I did a podcast on it yesterday, Frankie Kazarian also came out and announced that he has left AEW and he has signed a long-term deal with Impact Wrestling. So welcome back, Frankie Kazarian. As I announced earlier on my channel, Santino Marella also signing a deal with Impact Wrestling. Not sure if he's going to just be the director of authority or if he's going to be a wrestler. But Santino Morales signing a deal with Impact Wrestling, Frankie Kazarian signing a long-term deal with Impact Wrestling, Jonathan Gresham now on the Impact Wrestling roster. So Impact Wrestling is making those signings, bringing in some new talent, and hopefully Nick Gallus will eventually come into Impact Wrestling as well. But love the show. Loved Frankie Kazarian making his return to Impact Wrestling full time, and Impact Wrestling just keeps knocking it out of the park each and every time. And Hard to Kill was no exception to that. It was absolutely wonderful, absolutely fantastic. Loved Hard to Kill. Great show. Great job, Impact Wrestling. All right. So, before we wrap this up, there's something I want to talk about, something on my mind, something I was thinking about, and you guys can let me know if you agree with me or not. As we know, Tony Khan, Shad Khan are in the pool of potential buyers to buy the WWE. There was a report out that they're looking to possibly merge the two companies, but nonetheless, they're in the pool of potential buyers for the WWE. So potentially the Khans, not Nick Khan, but Tony Khan and Shad. When I say the Khans, I'm going to refer to Tony and Shad. The Khans could very well own the WWE. They potentially could own the WWE as they're in the group of potential buyers, as I mentioned. I think if they were to buy the WWE, I think that would benefit Impact Wrestling. And here's why I think that. And you could agree with me or disagree with me. It's okay. I think Impact Wrestling would benefit if Tony Khan and Shad Khan become the owners of Impact. See, I'm jumping in. If they become the owners of the WWE, here's how why I think Impact Wrestling would benefit. Okay, so the Khans own the WWE, right? They buy it. Say they successfully buy it. They own the WWE, they own AEW, they own Ring of Honor. Okay, Impact Wrestling suddenly becomes the alternative promotion. Right now, it's AEW. If somebody is not happy in WWE, hey, we could go to AEW. If the Khans buy WWE and someone's not happy in the WWE, say Seth Rollins says, you know what, I don't like working for Tony Khan. I don't like working for the Khans. He can't go to AEW anymore because Tony Khan is there. He can't go to Ring of Honor anymore because Tony Khan owns Ring of Honor. He can't go to his own stomping grounds. So Impact Wrestling becomes the alternative. So Impact Wrestling is the place where he would go. He could go to New Japan Pro Wrestling, but don't know if everyone wants to travel back and forth to Japan all the time. Japan to the US. So Impact Wrestling becomes a US alternative. You look to Impact Wrestling. Impact Wrestling has the money to pay someone like a Seth Rollins. They could bring a Seth Rollins in. Fans get tired of the Tony Khan product. If fans get tired of the Tony Khan product, they get tired of the WWE. They can't say, well, you know what? I'm tired of the WWE. I'm going to AEW. They can't do that anymore because Tony Khan runs AEW. Ring of Honor, AEW is run by Tony Khan. So right now, if they get tired and they need an alternative, they're going to Impact Wrestling, right? They're going to Impact Wrestling on that. And again, say AJ Styles is like, you know what? I don't want to work here anymore. Kevin Owens, I don't want to work here anymore. Charlotte Flair's like, you know what? I've had enough of this. I've had enough of this Tony Khan bull crap. I want out. Impact Wrestling is a place they're gonna go to. Remember when TNA was the alternative to the WWE? Kurt Angle wasn't happy. Where did he go? He went to TNA. Christian Cage wasn't happy. WWE or WWF, whatever it was back then. He went to TNA. Right? Rhino was cut loose from WWF. Where did he go? He went to TNA. TNA, of course, now Impact Wrestling. Impact Wrestling becomes the alternative. Impact Wrestling becomes a place that wrestlers that aren't happy with working for Tony Khan, the place for them to go to. We can see a group of really good talent leaving the WWE and going to Impact Wrestling. Their contract is up. They want something, they want to try something different. Impact Wrestling will grow. If Impact Wrestling becomes the alternative and they're able to bring in some of these top talents that aren't happy working for Tony Khan, Impact Wrestling will start to grow and they will start to be in bigger arenas. They'll start to get to in front of 5,000-6,000 people again. That's what I think. That's how I feel. So if Tony Khan and Shad Khan are able to somehow work out a deal and buy the WWE, Impact Wrestling becomes the alternative, and I think it benefits Impact Wrestling. The fans grow tired of Tony Khan. They grow tired of Tony Khan's product. Impact Wrestling will be the place for them to get the alternative. And that's how I feel Impact Wrestling will benefit if Tony and Shad Khan were able to pull off a small miracle and purchase the WWE. Will they purchase the WWE? Unlikely. Unlikely. I'm going to be honest. Unlikely. But there is a possibility. And if they do, Impact Wrestling becomes the alternative, and Impact Wrestling will, in my opinion, really start to take off again. Pulling in 5, 6,000, 7,000 people to their shows, especially if there's a group of talent that doesn't want to work for the cons and they decide, you know what, don't want to work here anymore. Impact Wrestling, the alternative. That's where I'm going, and that's how I feel. Let me know how you feel if you're with me on that or not. I'm sure there'll be plenty of comments coming up on that opinion. So anyway, I'm gonna leave it at that for now. Anything else breaks, I'll be back. Of course, it's early on Saturday, but until then, thank you very much. Take care. Bye bye. Stay safe, everyone. So long. Bye bye.